Kris, where are we at?
WWE State Farm Arena, bad boy.
Yeet! Say, welcome to the 1973 podcast.
Welcome to the 1973 podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's your favorite podcast, or at least allegedly your mother's favorite podcast, the 1973 podcast. We're hitting on all cylinders, and we're going to start it off with the man that's been missing for 2 straight weeks, bringing the email segment back. Ed, taking a lot of heat. You took 2 weeks off to decompress. Got some heat on YouTube. They weren't happy with your look. So I'll let you have the floor. Take it away, Ed.
Well, first and foremost, sorry. I live kind of down here in the hurricane belt. We had some other things going on. Then I was taken ill. So I was on about 1,500 milligrams of antibiotic, not to be a little bit too, and I mean, that has been verified by your hockey hero himself. I mean, just to prove that I was dying down here, okay? I still got a little, it didn't settle in my kidneys or anything like that, but, I'm back.
You were going out to stop the car, let's be honest.
And I mean, in the hurricane, the hurricane, thank God it missed us, you know what I mean? But there's another one cranking up in the old Gulf Arena right now. So, all right, well, we're gonna go now. First, I'm gonna read the text sheet here first, and then I'll read the email. But it's gonna be a slow build on this one, okay? So, hey there, podcast fans, are you ready to show off your love for the 1973 podcast? We've got over 20 designs of T-shirts and hoodies that capture the essence of classic stuff. Whether you're a fan of the shows or you just love retro feel, we've got something for everybody. From bold prints to subtle nods to your favorite personalities, each piece is made top-notch quality. Matter of fact, it is. It is timeless style you crave, perfect for lounging at home or making a statement out and about. And don't wait, our collection is flying off the shelves faster than you can say, don't be cheap, buy a shirt. Visit us at buyandfire.com and grab your favorites before it's gone. 1973 T-shirt store on YouTube. Just click the link below. All right. So this one right here. So first and foremost, I'm going to call this it's like, really, if we actually have fans, like, you guys can't be better than this. Like, really, like, this is the best you guys can do. You're calling me out on YouTube, but this is the best email that you can do. This is ridiculous. Like, I mean, I have to preface this, and I have to say this so I don't get fired. This is not my opinion, and this goes back to our law firm, of Quahog, and Quahog. You know what I mean? Because this is ridiculous. I mean, like, this is complete trash. I mean, like, were you hanging out the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho Man, like, back in the 1980s when you wrote this? I mean, you can't even, like, nobody writes like this. Nobody does. But I'm gonna read it. This is under protest. Like, this is worse than the Pete Rose not letting him in the Hall of Fame shenanigans. Come on. And I mean, I almost have to light myself on fire because this makes me feel so dirty. Like,
Please
this is
don't.
disgusting. Now I shall read. This is came in on testes 1, 2, 3. I can't believe first and foremost, I can't believe I'm actually going to read this trash, because it really is trash. It's trash. Andy, Ryan, Tom, Mike, I mean, seriously, this is probably one of the trashiest, most disgusting, despicable emails that we've ever received.
Get on with
gross. It. All right. It's called Tits and Ass. I mean, I can't believe I'm actually going to read this. I really can't. Hey, you homosexuals, where's all the hot ass? You may need to be less gay and bring out some girls to straighten out this podcast. I can't. No, I'm not even reading this dude's name. I'm not reading his name. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Well, first and foremost, maybe you got, if you send an email like that, maybe you should hit the link and hit the PayPal and maybe send us a couple $1,000 and maybe we'll make that happen. Benjamin.
We'll sell you a T-shirt with some titties on it.
Oh yeah, and buy a shirt. Look at the quality on that. King Slender himself. Look at that.
Ed, let me interject right here. The best thing about that email is not only the verbiage, but where it hails from.
Where's it from?
Andy, I'm going to have you say it.
I don't even have it in front of me. What is it? It's your mother's what?
Whoa.
It's Ben E. Fingerbank from your mother's butthole. Ed, you got the floor, Ed. Go ahead, take it away.
I just think I think it's probably the worst email that we've ever gotten. There is nothing to say. I can't believe I actually had to read that trash. It was under protest.
Shaggy, what do you think?
Very inappropriate.
Okay.
I'm still giggling, but it's inappropriate.
Professor, we're gonna kick it to you. Bring us back to True North on this email. What's the gist here?
Let's be honest. Just like you said from the verbiage, it's obvious it's like a 12-year-old. So they're probably in their mom's basement right now typing. But all I gotta
Allegedly,
say is,
allegedly.
Check on your children.
He must be one of the 400 something views that we had this past week. So thank you.
You're gonna take also you gotta take the good with the bad, right?
Worst email ever.
The bad's funnier.
Funny, but worst email ever.
I mean, at least he didn't tell you to finger bang somebody.
Phantom, you want to polish this turn up?
Huh?
You said polish.
Oh my God.
So Ed, what do you think? We're gonna move on from the email this
Yeah, we
week?
needed to move on before I even read it.
So great bounce back email this weekend. Great job. Good you?
Shut up.
And don't be a bitch. Let's go.
Shut up.
So
Morris, you make me sick when you speak.
let's get into some serious topics. Like back to what we do on the show. We had a couple of passings we didn't touch on, so let's get into some pop culture stuff. Pete Rose, Thomas, let's talk some Pete Rose. Let's bring some serious content to this.
Yeah, he passed away. I was reading up on him, and there was a few things I didn't realize, which I forgot all about him playing with the Expos. I mean, I knew remembered him playing with the Reds and Phillies, but I never remembered him playing with the Expos. But he played with them in '84. But I mean, it's a travesty that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he gambled, but look at all the crap going on with baseball and some of these guys that are in there now. I mean, it's bad because if they do it now, it's just a day late, dollar short, in my opinion. But thing I didn't realize about him when I was reading about him, I didn't realize he was the first celeb in the WWE Hall of Fame.
True story. And the reason why they did it is because he wasn't in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So it kind of, from a sports entertainment purpose, not a wrestling purpose, they kind of did it to kind of poke the bear with that whole thing. I thought the thing I thought was cool was out of all the All-Star games he had been to, he's the only player to be voted to the All-Star game in all 7 positions other than pitcher and catcher. He's the only player to go to the All-Star game representing like first base or playing for second base, third, shortstop, in all 3 positions in the outfield. I thought that was cool.
Absolutely.
Brankowitz, want to weigh in on Charlie Hustle?
What's not to like about Pete Rose? Ultimate gamer. Kind of had his heyday a little bit before we probably were watching baseball, but he was still damn good even when we were watching him. The Hall of Fame stuff, so that's a joke. Guaranteed somebody will try floating him in now. Yeah, you gotta hope that his family would be like, the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah, Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame. There shouldn't even be a Hall of Fame. We argue about Hall of Fame all the time, but that guy's a measuring stick. Like, he ain't getting better than that.
I thought it was pretty interesting too with him that he's almost more of a legend if he never goes in now, because it's almost like he'll be the greatest player to play baseball to never go in the Hall of Fame. And why go in now where it doesn't matter because he doesn't get his just due? I think from my personal perspective with the whole thing is when they allowed gambling in sports with DraftKings and these other sports bet, that's when he should have went in. They should have just lifted the ban and said, "Hey, listen, it's all water under the bridge. You've done your prison sentence, and here you go. We're putting you in." And it'd be cool if the year that they put him in, if they did, he was the only one that went in. That would have been epic. He would have been taking up the whole Hall of Fame for that, presentation. And now after the fact, it doesn't. Everybody that they put on a pedestal after they pass away, it's almost like a commercial thing where they don't have to pay as much anymore or something like that. Ed, weigh in on Charlie Hustle.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, look at these stats. I mean, his batting average is 303. He hit 4,256 hits, 160 home runs, 14 RBIs, 17 All-Star games, just to piggyback on what you said. Three world championships.
Two different teams.
Yeah, two different teams. 3,215 singles in Major League Baseball. That's pretty badass. Switch hitter, 2,165 hits. And then he was a member of the All-Century team. First and foremost, incredible baseball player, the way that baseball should be played. And there was it the 1970 All-Star game?
72.
Where he crashed into the catcher.
Yep.
And, he bruised his knee and then knocked the other guy out for the whole season. He's an incredible baseball player. Now on the other side of it, not exactly the best human being, certainly made plenty of mistakes. Like as things went along, he lied a lot to, Bart Giamatti, and that's why Bart decided that he wanted to keep him out of the Hall. And a lot of the stuff on the radio this week, when I've been driving all over the, creation down here, has been like they've almost made him out to be a martyr. And it's like, nah, he was not exactly, a choir boy. An incredible baseball player, but really not a great person. Certainly made some poor choices. And then he sued people, and then they
like that email.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they popped him for underage, inappropriate relationship with somebody that was under 18. There's that, and then he had basically, he had 2 wives, I think 4 kids, and then there was a kid that he had that, that he said that it wasn't his, and then they did the blood test, and he finally accepted that was his kid. So, to piggyback on what you said as far as like the DraftKings thing and the gambling in sports, did he bet on when he was managing the Reds on the team? I don't think he did. Because it would have been looked really obvious. But he did bet on baseball, whether he says that he did or not. They found that he did, and he definitely was betting like $10,000 a day. That's a pretty extensive habit.
He admitted that he did in his autobiography.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Shaggy, what?
The year that he passes is when all the stuff's going on with Ohtani, and Ohtani's having this historical year, and it's not even on the radar anymore. Everybody's eating up the 50 home runs and
50 stolen bases,
and all this, and then Pete Rose dies, and he's out of the game for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Shaggy, care to weigh in on the Pete Rose?
Yeah, so since Brad's not here, I'm going to put on my tinfoil cap. So the day after he passes away, there's a tweet from not King Slender, but from Ric Flair. And he says, "Pete, we were just signing autographs yesterday, and he died today. I want to know if he was out trying to party and be the man with the man, and he passed away from doing that."
Oh, trying to keep up with the H.
Keep up with the nature. Drop dead after that.
Wow. We're going to
Allegedly.
Right. Very, very. We're going to have to bring that up with, the mayor of Tinfoil Town.
Yes.
When he returns. The Bradford. Who is missed this week, let's just say, but doing epic things, I will say.
Absolutely.
So let's stay on the celebrity mentions of who's passed. Let's switch to very iconic show, Good Times. John Amos passed away. James Earl Jones passed away a couple of weeks back, and the connection with the two coming to America.
Yep.
McDowell's and the King of Zamunda. What more can you ask for? But as far as iconic father characters for a show, I thought John Amos falls in the Mr. Cunningham role for a great TV dad, somebody that was always trying to preach hard work, trying to preach don't be a punk. He handled situations really good. Does he need to take his belt off? And also in Roots, for a lot of people that have never seen that, pretty
Kunta
iconic.
Kinte.
And yep.
Oh, that was
right,
LeVar Burton.
right. LeVar Burton was Toby.
Reading Rainbow, baby.
Yep. So I'm going to kick it to the Phantom. Thoughts on the passing of John Amos? You gotta.
I think when the show first started, we could have used James Evans to whoop somebody's ass that didn't have any discipline. He could have old schooled him. No, he was great. To me, he stands out in Good Times. We all grew up watching it, and he was like this, always had like the straight edge dad kind of thing, hard father, but funny as fuck too. Especially if like you go back and watch the stuff now, you can really see the generation gap of like what it was to be a father when you were a father, not your buddy. Definitely a classic character.
Thomas, thoughts on John Amos?
It's funny because he's known for, most people know him, Good Times, Roots. But when I was a kid, my dad and I used to always watch the old 80s B movies, action movies. And two that I remember him being in and that I thought he was really good in was Beastmaster with Mark Singer. And then he was in Lockup with Sylvester Stallone. And we used to always, like, once a week we'd go to the movies, or we'd go to the old video stores and we'd get a B movie and watch it. And those are the ones I remember him with. But I didn't realize he played football. He didn't play in the AFL for very long, but he played back then they had a lot of minor league football leagues, and he played in a bunch of different not AFL, minor league teams. But the funny thing is he got signed by, I believe it was the Kansas City Chiefs, or actually no, it was the Denver Broncos, and they signed him, and then like 2 days into training camp, he pulled a hamstring and they cut him, and that was it for him right there. There was a famous line. I can't remember the Chiefs coach back then, but he told him, you're a person trying to be a football player. He said, you're a normal person trying to be a football player. And he told him he should go on to do other things. And he ended up becoming an actor. I didn't realize he graduated from Colorado State.
He ended up getting into acting through Fred Williamson, the Hammer. They were friends. So that's the connection, the football connection, bringing it into the TV movie realm. Shaggy, thoughts on James Evans?
I forgot about Lockup and Beastmaster until you mentioned it. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about those. But I was also thinking about Die Hard 2. Yep. But I know I was a little bit younger with Good Times games. I watched the reruns, but for me, it was always Coming to America.
Yep. McDowell's. Yeah, and he was a hot ass in that too. It was almost like a James Evans type persona in that.
He's a prince. A prince.
Great. See, we have the magic arch. Right? Ed, thoughts on passing a...
Oh man, Good Times like that, like we all said, that classic dad, hard work. I remember the one where I think it was the kid's cousin that was there, and he said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And he takes his belt off and drags the kid into the bedroom and whoops his ass with the belt. Ryan, I think you sent that one to me about 6 months ago, I think. Funny story is that they killed him off Good Times because he kept telling the producers that that's not how real black families are. That they didn't. Jimmy Walker, they didn't allow him. He was like, that's not how we actually are. In a traditional black family, we don't do that. And so they killed him off. And I think that was
Dynamite.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was like I think that was what the damn episode.
Yeah, he was always going at it with the production and the stories on the show and trying to bring a little bit of authenticity to that family. We'll leave it at that.
He was on the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yeah,
how about that?
The
one thing I didn't know about him is that actually two things. I mean, he was a Golden Gloves champion in boxing. Didn't know that about him. And then I also didn't know that he was actually a veteran, and he was a member of the 50th Armored Division in New Jersey. Didn't know that about him at all. You know, and you know, to echo Tom's point, you know, he tried to play professional football, and he just didn't make it. But you know, just an overall talented guy, and you know, I always just enjoyed watching him. I mean, his characters that he had, you know, working, you know, coming to America 2, you know, and then he played in you know, Die Hard 2. Just great actor, you know.
So we'll segue away from one iconic character to somebody that kind of transcended movies in the 70s and country music, Kris Kristofferson. Great story about Kris Kristofferson and Elvis. So The Star is Born with Barbra Streisand and Kris Kristofferson was not the new one with Lady Gaga, the original. That movie was written for Elvis Presley. And the Colonel turned Elvis away from doing it because he didn't want him to stray away from the Elvis type movies and get into serious acting. So just imagine, I've said this a bunch of times when this conversation has come up and away from the podcast. Imagine if Elvis had gotten that Star is Born role. If you've ever seen the movie, just imagine Elvis playing that part. It might have changed the trajectory that he was on, because that movie was really critically acclaimed when it came out. It put Barbra Streisand on the map as like a real serious actress. So my first introduction into Kris Kristofferson was when I used to go to the movies like every week as a kid. Convoy, where he's the rubber duck, the truck driver. What a 70s iconic movie. If you know, there are certain, like Good Times, 70s TV show, iconic for the 70s. When the CB craze was big, Convoy was that movie was huge at the time. You know, it's not going to win any awards, but if you want to put movies in that Smokey and the Bandit type category, Convoy is one of them. So that's my intro into Kris Kristofferson. Thomas?
Well, it's funny because another thing going back to my childhood is my dad was always into Westerns. And the movie I remember him in when I was a kid was Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. And with, I think James Coburn was in it, I believe, with him. But my grandmother was a huge country music fan. And I'd go over there as a kid and I would remember hearing the records playing. It was him. But I actually kind of liked the group he formed, the super group there, the Highwaymen, with Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings. But I mean, the thing I remember movie-wise, other than that, is Blade. And that's where I think a lot of the younger people are going to remember him from. But I reading up on him, there's a few things I didn't know. Like I knew he wrote songs, but I didn't realize he had like 4 or 5 songs that he wrote were all #1 hits.
Shaggy, I know you're dying to talk about this. You got 17 pages of notes.
I've been waiting to use my useless knowledge on 70s outlaw country like no tomorrow. All right. So he was born in Brownsville, Texas back in 36, right near the Mexican border. His dad was in the military, so he moved around. He graduated in San Mateo, California in 54. I believe the same town as Julian Edelman. I believe the same town. Or Tom Brady, one of them. After that, he went to Pomona College. He's a Rhodes Scholar. Like, he's brilliant. He's a Rhodes Scholar and went to grad school in Oxford. I was hoping the Mississippi guy was here, but it's not that Mississippi. It's over in England, the Oxford over there. And then after that, he came back home and he joined the Army, learned to fly helicopters. And one of his assignments, they wanted him to teach literature at West Point. And he was quoted saying, "I think that's going to be hell to me. I don't want to do that." So he quit doing the Army. He got out of the Army. He moved to Nashville. He got a job as a janitor at, where was it? CBS Nashville Studios. And that's where he met Johnny Cash and friggin' Bob Dylan, all those guys, and hung out with them, being a janitor overnight, just to hang out with them. And like you were saying, some of his songs that were #1 hits. I mean, obviously, Being Bobby McGee, the big Janis Joplin song. And one of my favorites that Johnny Cash covered was Sunday Morning Coming Down. Is won a CMA for 1970 is the best song of the year. You're mentioning movies. You almost forgot another great one, Big Top Pee-wee.
That's right.
And like you said, the Highwayman, and yeah, that's about all I got. I couldn't pay attention after that. But
Phantom.
very interesting cat, very interesting character.
As a big country music fan, what do you got there, Phantom?
Yeah, I'm not getting much past the Master Splinter part of Blade, but no, I don't know if you guys remember this, but he did kind of have a kind of an iconic moment where he remember when Sinead O'Connor had like ripped up the picture of the Pope.
Yep.
So like shortly after that, like she was like doing this like concert, like a concert in MSG. And I guess when she came out, like the crowd was like booing her off the stage, and he was the one that had like introduced her. So he came out like just like to kind of show like his character. That like he came out and tried to like he consoled her like halfway through it before she went like rogue after that and like started singing this war song or whatever. But after that, she like went off the stage like crying, and like he kind of like put his arm around her or whatever, and I talked to her, and then it's like fast forward like 10 years later is when all the stuff came out about like Catholic Church and the kids and all that kind of shit. So like she was on the right side of history, and the news media was wrong. Go figure, right? But no, I thought it was like a pretty cool moment that I kind of remember from when I was younger, and not being like a super fan by any means.
Definitely an icon. I don't want to ruin Ed's moment because he's the one that didn't want to talk about the time he was on the Muppet Show. So go ahead, Ed.
Oh no, I was going to bring up the Muppet Show. I didn't realize that he actually dated Janis Joplin. Like that was interesting to me. And one of his jobs, he actually would fly out from Louisiana. He'd fly out to oil rigs when he was flying helicopters. And I didn't realize how big and how smart he really was. Like just to echo that he was that he went to Oxford, and I never realized how talented the guy really was. And it was just reading into it, I was like, huh, never knew that much about him. And to come to find out, I mean, he was just a really interesting dude and had just all these talents and stuff like that. And to see who he was connected to with like Johnny Cash and all the guys, out of Nashville was just incredible. So that's all.
Yeah, I think the thing with him is because you live such a quiet life, it doesn't mean that you're not pretty interesting. Like his life seemed to have been. It just nobody made a big fuss out of it, probably because he didn't. It just totally iconic, and definitely another American icon kind of lost in this kind of trend we're going through with people that we grew up watching kind of fading off into the old sunset. So let's change gears and let's start talking some sports. Thomas, are you ready?
Let's do it.
For Tom's Shitty Picks.
Tom's Shitty Picks is brought to you by Brock Street Brewing Company, located at 244 Brock Street South in Whitby, Ontario. Everything is brewed in-house, including their hard iced teas, their beers, vodka sodas, and their hard seltzers. So if you're in the Whitby area, go check them out and tell them the 1973 podcast sent you. So this week, I'm going with, for this coming week, I'm going to go with some college football, because next week, there are some awesome games next week. I think I know what I'm doing all day. There's like 5 games with ranked teams playing one another, including Mississippi against LSU, Penn State, USC, Texas, OU, and the game I'm going with, Ohio State against Oregon. And I'm going with Ohio State. I'm not a huge fan of theirs, but they're playing at home. Now, I'm a huge Oklahoma fan, and Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback from Oregon, that's where he came from. And I can tell you, watching him firsthand, the dude chokes in big games. He throws a lot of INTs, turns the ball over, and the last 2 games alone, he's thrown 3 interceptions. So I'm going with Ohio State. Their defense, I think in 5 games, they've given up, I think, a total of 26 points. So I'm going to go with Ohio State in that game.
So before we get into the football picks, we're going to weigh in because I know Brad's going to be devastated that we're bringing up the hockey. Sorry, Brad, we're going to do it. You'll have to catch up next week.
It's time.
It's time. What time is it, Tom? It's Swayman time. That's what time it is. Let's talk some Swayman. Who should we start with? Should we start with the professor, or should we start with the Phantom? It's going to be point counterpoint between the two.
I think we just spin them up and watch both of them go. How's that?
Yeah, well, we're gonna Thomas, tell us what Bruins Nation is thinking with the whole 64 reasons why they should sign him.
Well, I'm on Swayman's side on this, but I have to say that Cam Neely is playing the fans perfectly because he came out at the press conference the other day and he spit out that Swayman, that they gave him a $64 million contract offer. So now the fans have all turned on Swayman right now. I mean, if you listen to talk radio all week, they're all shitting on him like he is the worst thing since fucking, I mean, he's just terrible. But I'm all on Swayman on this one because they've been cheap. They've been known. You've got to change the Bruins mentality at some point. They've been cheap throughout the years. And I think it's time that they have to start paying up, especially where the players are, they're smartening up. So they're not going to take the team. I think those days are lost. I think Brad Marchand's going to be the last guy on the team that you're going to see is going to have taken a discount to stay with the team. I think it's a matter of now that it's put up or shut up for the Bruins. I mean, Swayman, if you've watched he's got some hard feelings. If you ever watched the Amazon show that I can't think of the name of the show, it's a hockey thing and shows behind the scenes stuff. And he's going to be on this week's episode. From what I've heard, they were talking about on Sports Talk Radio, and in it he talks about the arbitration process that he went through last year and how they brought up that he said that his guy gave all the good stuff. He says, and when the Bruins time came up, their big thing against him, he's not a proven winner in the playoffs. He's only been in the league for what, a year and a half, 2 years? I mean, to me, that's bullshit. And I think that might have caused him to play a little more hardball with them. And the rumor is, and I've heard it now from a couple different sources, that he has an offer from the KHL. And he's from Alaska, so he on a low tide, he can just walk to Russia and play. So,
Shag, you want to weigh in?
Well, I was gonna say that's the whole arbitration thing is. I'm going to tell you how good my guy is. Well, we're going to tell you what's shitty about him, why we're not going to pay him. That's how arbitration works. We're going to tell you the worst about it. I mean, how many times the Patriots go through that shit with Belichick and stuff? Well, this is what's wrong. This is why we're not going to pay you. Like that's negotiations. That ain't hurt feelings. That's business, not personal.
Phantom, what do you got?
Hey, I might sound like Brad on this one a little bit, but the year they lose, they come into it, best season of all time, right? Get into that first round, they play Olmert almost the whole series hurt, and then throw him in Game 7. Maybe they knew if they had to throw him in a little earlier, he wins them that series, they would have had to fucking pay him last year, and it would have been on the cheap. They probably could have got him for $6 million per. But they fuck him, don't give him an opportunity, make him look bad and play just one game in the playoffs. Then now you roll around until now. They wanted him, they threw him on like to prove it. He proves it. Now it's time to pay up. Like, why would you take less? Not only are you doing yourself and your family a disservice, but you're doing a disservice to all the goalies in the league. Like, you're there, if you're a top 5 goalie, you're setting the market for the other guys to be able to get more money than you. And if you're looking at an 8-year deal, yeah, it's a lot of money now, but there's already guys that make more money than the $8 million a year. So, like, at the end of this 8 years, that $8 million is not going to be shit. So I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. And I think the Bruins are a little bit spoiled because they went from Tim Thomas, then they had Tuukka. Then I think Olmark's more of like a system goalie, and maybe even Sway might be a little bit of a system goalie. They both put up big numbers. Both goalies, no matter who they put in, win. So it's a little bit. It's going to be on the team. But Olmark did win a Vezina. So now it's his turn, and it's like you want to turn the fans against him. I think it's bullshit. And as much of a Cam Neely fan that I am, that's like Bush League to be throwing out numbers. And not only do you throw out numbers, but you fucking lie. And they actually came like a little bit short of that, which whatever, say it's $500,000, but take that $500,000 and times it by fucking 8. You're fucking screwing the guy like freaking $4 million. Like, well, what are we talking about here? So I'm all Team Sway. I'm always a player's guy. Get everything you can get because they're making fucking billions.
Yeah, and I love how these owners are always playing the thing of ticket prices are so high, parking so high, concessions so high because these players want so much money. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's the greed that gets the best of them. It's always the greed. They're the thing about Neely saying that is, does he know that the fan base is stupid? Does he know that the fan base has tendencies to have knee-jerk reactions and run with things?
He's been drinking that Kool-Aid, the Jacobs Kool-Aid, too long.
And of
the
course,
thing that kills me about Cam is that Cam fucking played. So it's like, I don't know. I think it fucking bothers me that it's like, hey, yeah, I know you got a job or whatever, but let that fall on Don Sweeney. That's Don Sweeney's job, is to get him signed. Why are you opening him up there? He said Don Sweeney said he's in the negotiations. Cam's just sitting up, fucking collecting money. Sweeney went to fucking Harvard. Cam Neely didn't do fucking cock. He came from fucking juniors, so it's like he's no fucking genius.
no, we know that. He was Seabass.
That he was.
So the thing
I got a point on this.
Go ahead, Ed.
No, first and foremost, this is Bruins playbook for the past 40-something years.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing new. I mean, it's basically like anytime the Bruins have had a great player, they turn the fans against the player, or back in the late 80s and the early 90s, hey, look, we have a great player. He doesn't want to play ball. Let's ship him off somewhere. And we'll get some, basically two guys that are like, basically use puck bags and that type of thing. It's nothing new. And, to have Cam Neely, to echo Ryan's point, to get out there because he was a hell of a player. Dude, shut up. Don't say nothing. And the thing about it is, it's like, you're not Jerry Jones. You're not. You don't know. And the thing is like one thing about Jerry goes to the media, but then he pays the guys. That's the difference between Jerry Jones and the Bruins. And they don't do it. And this is why, part of the reason why, look, hey, I've softened a little bit on my stance, about being a Bruins fan because I don't live at home anymore and I don't have to listen to the nonsensical shenanigans on sports radio on how terrible, like, they are, every other team that comes in and blows them out the doors. And I'm tired of that. And the thing is like Don Sweeney, all this stuff, look, you guys have never done a great job at like negotiating. I mean, it's just like what they got for Joe Thornton. Joe Thornton, 1.89, what was that? 1.89 points a game, and they basically got nothing out of it.
They got a Stanley Cup.
And he won the MVP that year too. The year he got traded, he won MVP. Talk about taking something and running with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing new, and it's just and that's the thing about it is just that and I mean we all know how Bruins fans are. I mean as soon as like basically Cam is pretty much like he's like the Pope almost walking around there, and he says something, all of a sudden it becomes gospel, and it's and you shouldn't turn your fans against one of your best players. That's just stupid.
Don't forget it. It also goes to whatever way it ends up turning out. So now, say he signs, Blaze gets hurt because he didn't go to camp, or say he shits the bed, say he doesn't live up to the contract.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have never gave him the money. Blah blah blah. This all. But now if it goes the other way and the guy friend goes on a run and whatever, they win a cup 3 years from now, it's like, oh, I was on his side the whole time. We should have gave him $10 million. It's, our opinion is always, what have you done for me lately? And that's just not just the Bruins thing. That's just the Boston sports thing,
That's very true.
I'm not on the Bees, but I like the Red Sox and the Celtics. So when it goes the Red Sox ways, then all of a sudden I'm a freaking let's go Sox. But,
yeah.
It all comes down to they still have to answer to Jacobs. And like, oh, Cam Neely, you want this job where you just guys sit there and smile and wave like a monkey? They do what I need you to do.
I don't know if you guys have seen any of the Bruins broadcasts in preseason, but it's been absolutely horrible. I don't know if it has anything to do with Jacobs, but the one thing I do know is with Jacobs, they're not sending the announcers on road anymore. So they're calling the games from Nesson, but the production, all this exhibition games, the last game, it shit the bed on them, and they had to cut in, and I think they used the NHL Network announcers. And then today, same thing. They played, I think, Washington today, and they had to use the Washington announcers because there was some technical difficulties at the Nesson Broadcast Center.
Wait a second. They're not sending the broadcasters to call the game live in the building anymore?
That they haven't. That's what I've read. Yeah.
I don't think it's soccer either.
That's like a preseason thing because a lot of times they're not playing in their home building.
Okay.
So they'll play on the road. So they like kind of make a deal with the other team saying like, all right, you're the home team today. Well, we're just going to run you off feed so that you don't have to like reset up for like multiple
It's
things.
Jacob saving the money.
I thought you were saying that that's how it's going to be for the regular season.
No, I think
don't
that's
know.
an exhibition thing.
Okay.
So you guys want to wrap up the Sway talk and get into
Well, you didn't speak on this. Andy.
We're all for
So
Sway. Let's go.
Andy, you didn't speak on this.
You take Sway on the Flyers?
they don't need them.
Oh, I like that. I'll take
They
him
don't
on
need
the
him.
Flyers. We do need
Last
him.
place is last place. It doesn't matter.
Don't
Number
need 'em.
1 draft pick.
What's your take, Andy?
I'm with the players too because I couldn't spin it any other way than the 8-year period is such a long time and what he's asking for now 4 years from now will be a bargain. So if they end up winning, say they win 2 Stanley Cups in 8 years or 1, it's still worth the money. And what do they got in the pipeline? Do they have it? They don't have anything. So his bargaining chip is pretty good unless somebody comes in with the defense that they got and, steals the show. But what are they going to do when that guy wants money? Everybody's there to be a star and make money. I mean, if you're not a star, then you shouldn't be on the team, right? Should be all the top guys on the team, the way you look at it. So
I don't know why people don't understand your boss a year ago was like, I don't think you're that good. Prove it. Then you fucking prove it, and you're gonna take less. Like, fuck, you paid me. You challenged me, and I proved you wrong. Fucking give me my money.
right.
Yep.
Correct.
1 month.
Yeah.
They don't got those Philadelphia draft picks.
Neither does Philadelphia.
You got to pick the right guy with those picks too.
So let's get away from this madness. I can see it's already getting. I'm going to be the Jeremy Swayman on his podcast. So let's just jump into these foosball picks that you got to acknowledge who's in first place.
Not you.
Yeah.
It's not. It's Brad. Brad's in first place now. After this past week.
Hey, he's in first place because you always let him change his fucking picks.
No, that was Shaggy last week.
Whoa, what I do?
White out tonight because of Shaggy last week.
I'm sick of your fucking little, notes after we pick them.
Dude, it's a contest. Come on. I'm not trying to help you.
You lost me at study.
And sure.
After
Oh,
week 4,
Only half a nip.
week 4, Brad and I both went 11-5. Ryan and Shaggy went 10-6. Ed went 9-7, and Andy went 8-8. So after 4 weeks? Hold on a minute, I got the schedule. Oh, here it is. After 4 weeks, Brad is 40-24. Andy and Ryan are 38-26. Ed is 37-27. I'm 36-28. Shaggy is 29-19. He missed a week. And Dennis is 27-21, and he's missed a couple weeks. So I think this is the last week I'm actually going to put him in the standings.
No, keep him in. I'm not last place. I keep him in.
where's Rosie? Goddamn it!
All right. So we're going into week 6. It's another 14-game week.
Hold on.
Yes.
I'm going to make a statement, and I'm going to look right at the phantom when I say it.
Uh-oh.
Dennis hasn't been back since Brad asked him for a hat. That's all I'm saying. We know the drill. We know how it works. We didn't want to scare him away with, he's going to do something, get it done.
I think he's mad at him because he made him watch wrestling.
I would be.
Go ahead, Professor.
All right.
Week
Thursday
6.
game. should be a great game. Hopefully it'll be like this past Thursday. That was an awesome game.
Sure
But,
was.
Jaggy, is that a turd in there?
Pardon me?
Is that a turd in there?
A cinnamon stick. A little cinnamon stick.
All right. First game Thursday night. The Seattle Seahawks are at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Andy.
I will take Rob Halford's favorite football team, the 49ers.
All righty. Ed.
I'm going with the Niners, man.
All righty. Phantom.
Niners.
All righty. Shaggy.
I will take the Niners.
All righty. I could tell you all the secrets of who's hurt and who's not, but I'm not going
I don't want to hear this shit.
I'm going to go with Seattle. Seattle's at home. San Francisco's got a lot of injuries. They have their linebacker got hurt against the Pats last week. Warner, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but
I mean, how did they get hurt against the Patriots? The Patriots didn't do a damn thing.
Must have been celebrating that touchdown he scored.
He stubbed his toe.
Second game of the week, Chicago Bears at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Andy.
I'm going to take the Bears for Darren. He can put it in, he can put it in the comments.
Ed.
I'm going with the Bears.
All righty. Phantom.
I'm gonna go Jags at home.
All righty. Shaggy.
Give me sweetness Bears.
I'm going with the Bears as well. I think Caleb Williams is going to reel off a couple good games. I think this week he'll start having coming around a little bit with the team. Next game.
Oh, dude, they're playing the Jags, and the Jags are absolutely horrendous.
I'm like, I think the Bears
the
are
big
barely
rumor online is if Jacksonville loses this week here, that they're going to possibly fire him, Peterson, and replace him with Belichick.
Well, if they fire Peterson, that's so stupid because Lawrence is the problem. It's not the rest of the team.
I think that email was about Caleb Williams.
All right, next game. Green Bay Packers at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Andy.
Going to the Super Bowl, Green Bay Packers.
All righty, Ed.
I'm going with the Packers.
All righty, Phantom.
Packers.
All righty, Shaggy.
I'm picking Cardinals. Just go fuck yourselves.
All right, I'm going with Green Bay, though. I'm a little worried because they just suspended their wide receiver. I guess he was a no-show at practice, so I don't know what's going on with Dobbs, but I'm going to go with Green Bay.
He's a bitch.
Next game, Tennessee Titans at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Andy.
Knee-jerk reaction Colts.
All righty, Ed.
I'm going with the Colts. Even though the Titans beat the Dolphins the other night on Monday night, that was a horrible game, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Phantom.
I'm gonna go with the Titans because I go with the Titans every week and they always fucking lose. So eventually it's gonna go the other way.
Shaggy.
Tom, I did pick up Joe Flacco in my league just in case. I'm going with the Colts.
Not playing.
All right.
I got the other guy too. Whatever.
I'm going to go with Tennessee. Richardson's out this week, so and Jonathan Taylor's got a high ankle sprain. He's not playing this week, and usually with those high ankle sprains, Shaggy, you might know more about this than any of us because you're a trainer, but it's like a couple-week injury, so I'm going to go with Tennessee. Next game could be a big turd. The New England Patriots at home against the Houston Texans. Andy.
Texans.
All righty, Ed.
Anybody that has half of a brain, you're gonna pick the Texans.
Phantom.
Why do I pick first then?
We have more than half a brain.
Yeah.
All right. Shaggy.
I'm saying Texans like 13-3.
Yeah, it's getting possibly a little bit ugly in the locker room in New England from what I'm hearing. There's a little bit of a mutiny with the offense. The offensive players, especially the wide receivers, want Drake May starting. But so I think it's going to start getting ugly in the.
Don't do it.
And nobody wants their
the
offensive line.
Patriots wide receivers can't catch the ball.
And nobody wants their offensive line.
Yeah,
there's
David
that
Andrews
too.
out for the season too, so that's another huge loss.
The one good guy, he's fucking out.
Yep. All right, next game, the New Orleans Saints at home against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Andy.
Because Brad's not here, I'll take the Saints because he likes when I pick the Bucks.
All righty, Ed.
I hate to do this, but the Saints are inconsistent and they have no identity, so I'm going to go with the Bucks.
All righty, Ryan.
I'm gonna go with the Saints.
All righty, Shaggy.
I'm going Saints, and I'll save my fantasy league.
I am going to go with the Saints as well. Tampa Bay's defense is friggin' very inconsistent. That last game, I'm a little sore because it cost me a little bit of money, but
Me too.
next game, the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Cleveland Browns. Andy.
Seeing we're going into hockey season, I'm going fly, Eagles, fly.
All righty, Ed.
Eagles. Even though I it's hard for me to actually believe that I can't believe I'm actually saying that because both teams are like dumpster fires right now.
Yep. Ryan.
Even the people that root for the Brown kids are going with the Eagles.
All righty, Shaggy.
I mean, yeah, I feel it's like a flip of the coin. Like they're both shitty. I guess I'll go the Eagles.
All righty. I'm going with the Eagles as well, but that's another place that's they're talking about Sirianni getting
Belichick.
and Belichick. That's what they're saying, but we'll see. They're saying he's going to end up coaching sometime, but in the next year.
Converted.
There's supposedly a lot of discourse with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. They're not really getting along. They don't really talk much except on the sidelines, from what I'm hearing. Next game, Baltimore Ravens at home against the Washington Commanders. Andy.
Ravens.
All righty, Ed.
That's going to be a lot closer of a game than you think, in my opinion, because that quarterback for the Commanders, man, he is pretty awesome. What, 81%?
Historical numbers, Ed. Historical.
Yes, historical. Yeah, how about that? They get rid of a crappy owner and Daniel Snyder, and all of a sudden they become good. How about that? But I'm still going with the Ravens.
Yep. All right.
Especially if they get Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
How about Grizzly Adams?
Ravens.
All righty, Shaggy.
Every time I pick the Ravens, they screw me, so I'm going to go with the Commanders.
All righty, I'm going with the Ravens. They're just starting to click on all cylinders. That's actually smartened up a little bit and stopped trying to throw the ball and give it to Derrick Henry, and look what happens.
Yeah, they only ran almost 22 miles an hour on that run.
Yeah. And suddenly the safeties and stuff come up a little short on him when it's time to hit him, a guy that big. They they run alongside him rather than try to tackle him.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to take
Next game, the Denver Broncos at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. Andy.
San Diego.
All righty. Ed.
Go Chargers, go. But I will say that the Broncos, they're kind of getting sneaky. And I mean, I like Sean Payton as a coach, so yeah. But I'm still going with the go Chargers, go.
Phantom.
I'm gonna go Denver. For what Ed said.
Yep. Shaggy.
I'm going Jim Fouts and Harbaugh. Let's go Chargers.
All righty. I'm going to go with the Broncos. I think Justin Herbert is playing with that injured leg. He's just one cheap shot away from going down, and then they're down to their backup, who last name I think his last name's Card, somebody I never heard of, but I'm going with Denver on that one. Next game, the Las Vegas Raiders at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Andy.
Steelers.
All righty, Ed.
I'm going to go with the Steelers, but I'm going to put a little caveat in here. It's very sad to see what's happened with the Raiders organization. It seems like they're a dumpster fire every other year, that they get an interim coach. He does really well, and they hire him, and then it becomes a dumpster fire again. I don't understand that philosophy.
Commitment to sucking.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going with the Steelers. And oh, by the way, amazing what happens when you have a much better coach. Amazing what Justin Fields looks like. How about that?
Yep. Phantom.
How about Mrs. Fields?
No, there you go. Good cookies.
I will take the Steelers.
Shaggy.
I love Minshew Magic, but I gotta go with just lose, baby. I'm going with the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers as well. The Raiders, they are a dumpster fire. Speaking of dumpster fire, Dallas Cowboys at home against the Detroit Lions. Andy.
Well, you know, I usually try to pick the Cowboys when Brad's here. So I'm gonna because he's not here, I'm gonna pick the Lions.
Ed.
Well, considering the fact that Dallas is basically has a makeshift defense right now, with Michael Parsons being out, I'm going with the Lions. And Lions just looked really good the other night on national TV. They're a really physical team, and they did say something on sports radio to watch the hangover of the team that plays the Lions
I saw
the
that.
following week, because of how physical that they are. So I'm going with the Lions.
Phantom.
Lions.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, guy, I bet with the wall and not the hot brother.
Shaggy.
All right, since we found out, you ready to feel old? Eminem's gonna be a grandpa. I'm going with Detroit.
Damn.
I'm going to go with Detroit as well, but can we talk about the baller move that Jerry Jones did this past week? He shows up in his helicopter and lands it on the middle of the practice field during practice. That's a big baller move right there.
like Ric Flair.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Carolina Panthers at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Andy.
I'll take the Stanley Cup champion Panthers, please.
All right. Ed.
I'm going to go with the Falcons. I mean, even though the Panthers are looking a little bit better, I'm still going with the Falcons. They played pretty well the other night. Kirk Cousins, 509 yards. Pretty impressive.
Yep. Phantom.
I think it just got fired. I will go with the Falcons.
All righty. Shaggy.
Dirty Birds. Dirty Birds.
All righty. Yeah, I'm going to go with Atlanta as well. They're just clicking on. They got a really good offense, and they're doing all this without Bijan Robinson doing anything. I mean, it's kind of.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Fucking asshole.
Sunday night game. The New York Giants at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Andy.
I will take Chris Collinsworth and the Bengals, please.
All righty. Ed.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. They got to win at least 2 in a row at some point, because the Giants are just not a very good team.
Phantom.
I'm not going to play Joe Burrow this week, just so the Bengals can win.
There you go.
All righty. Shaggy.
I'm taking Kenny Anderson, the Bungles.
I'm going with Cincinnati as well. I don't know if he's going to be back for week 6, but Malik Neighbors is out this week with a concussion. Devin Singletary might not play either with an injury. So, I mean, Daniel Jones has no offense around him right now. That offense is going to be hurting. Next game, Monday night game, could be a decent game. New York Jets at home against the Buffalo Bills. Andy.
Bills.
All righty. Ed.
I'm going to go against the man that has my name and Fireman Ed. I'm going to go with the Bills.
Phantom.
I'm going to go with the Jets.
All righty. Shaggy.
I get the Jets defense and fantasy. I'm still taking the Bills.
All righty.
Jaggy, it sounds like you got more shitty picks than Tom.
I got a lot of shitty picks.
I think Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are going to have a little bit too much tea and crumpets tomorrow in London. I'm going to go with Buffalo in that game. I just think they just got a better all-around overall team. So that's it, AC.
All right, so you fellas ready to wrap up this episode? It's already been an hour. It's usually our wheelhouse there. So I'm going to kick it to the Phantom for the first shout out of the week.
What are we gonna shout out? I'm gonna shout out that emailer. I love anybody that can bring the passion out of Ed.
That's hard to do. Billboard space available in back of Ed coming soon. You can take your business and throw it in back of Ed. Ed, what do you got for a shout out?
I'm just gonna. I wish that we could have had a better email than that. That was even for us. That's pretty low bill. Not gonna lie, it was horrible. I can't believe I actually had to read that.
You
I
didn't,
mean, made my skin crawl. It was terrible. Like, really, it was like the worst email I've ever seen. Like, seriously, be better. Come on, fans, be better.
I just want to know where that location is, because I don't know if it's. Can you Google that, Ed?
No, I don't believe that you can.
You can't Google that. You might have
I'm
good
not
results.
going to do it on my phone. You can do that. Knock yourself out.
If you do it, don't do it from the work email.
No, I need my job. Thanks. I won't be doing anything like that from the work email.
Shaggy, what do you got this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give it up to the emailer too. Anybody makes A look like a bitch is in my.
And stop being a bitch. Tom, what do you got?
I want to give a shout out to number one fan of the podcast, Darren. He's been speaking as an advocate for kidney transplants in the state. He's been doing it for a while now, speaking with congressmen and people like that. And now he has a chance. He's up. He hasn't gotten picked yet, but he's up to get picked to go speak to Congress in Washington, D.C. for it. So good job, Darren.
That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to close out the podcast with a shout out. A couple weeks back, had the boy on. Now, shout out this week to this lady, the straw that stirs the drink, the youngest one, turning 11 this Tuesday. Ken, what do you got? Yeah.
There's a bunch of dusters on here.
Big time.
I was going to wish her happy birthday. Never mind.
Not
Let's
anymore.
go, Sticks. Let's go, Sticks.
So, you want to end the podcast?
No.
Okay. So we're out from us to you. Happy birthday, Ken. Let's go. Let's go some goals. Stop being cheap.